one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Look, I'm through with this false persona. I can't do the Mr. Goody two-shoe shit any longer. Y'all check y'all hoes at the door while I'm putting it on her. Feel less responsible for my actions when I say I'm on the edge and these niggas just keep harassing. Killing people I love, man, this shit just a crime of passion. I know this isn't me, boy, stop asking me what didn't happen. I've been talking to my demons, y'all really thought I was capping. Now y'all scared cause you found that I'm really about all the action. Don't do the pretend shit, all of my problems for instance. Tugging the cheek over tension, nice that we can barely mention. I would say I moved on, but I know that shit hard to convince it. I sleep at ease when she pull up like a hardy convention. Never been harder to fit in. I know niggas, no pot to piss in. Needing assistance. Also, no niggas ran plays with pistons. Both all wisdom. I sleep in silence, knowing everything good with the profit. I checked the summary last month, made 11 deposits. Everything is big up on the boy, feel like Christopher Wallace. Strong arm the game, who gon' stop him? That nigga too brolic. I've had enough of they twisted logic, that shit retarded. I question everything. I made the wrong choice between a paddock or a wedding ring. Hope you catching everything. They get goosebumps when I spit like when a net is seen.
Well, Dak, here's the deal. I'm the best there is, plain and simple. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence, and nobody can hang with my stuff. I'm just a big, hairy American winning machine. If you ain't first, you're last.
Welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with Saint. We are here to cover the last game. It didn't happen last. It actually happened yesterday night, but I haven't covered this one yet. The Eagles took on the New York Giants in Philadelphia. Strange thing about this game. Funny thing about this game, actually. And I'm going to get to it in a minute. But I just want to say something, bro. The game The Last of Us, bro. The Last of Us 2. Trash game, bro. When you kill a character like that for no fucking reason, and then you try to make me sympathize with the character who killed said character, bro. It's just not gonna work, bro. Jackass move. Hate that game. And the Telltale's The Walking Dead, bro. Killing Lee, one of the stupidest fucking things to this day that I've ever seen happen in a video game. Dead ass. Like, the game, to me, every season after was garbage. And you could have easily got 3 more seasons out of Lee. Making that decision to kill him at the end of that game is mind-boggling to me to this day. To this day. One of the greatest games I ever played. Completely ruined when this man got bit. I don't even know why I kept playing that shit after he got bit, to be completely honest with you. Because I knew what the outcome was going to be. And I knew from that point on, it was just about how dire can we make the situations towards the end of this game now to make me feel some type of way. Because you didn't have to do that. As soon as he got bit, I was like, this game's garbage. This game's garbage. It is what it is. Much like this game was also garbage. But funny thing about this game, going into this game, a lot of people was picking the Giants to win this game. I know somebody who put $28,000 on this game for the Giants. And I was just so baffled at what people saw in this Giants team that made you think that they was going to beat Philly. And this is that thing where teams get talked up. This was where Daniel Jones was getting overhyped because of some decent games. And this only happened for white quarterbacks because God forbid Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson throw 15 touchdowns and 5 picks and see if they praising them talking about some, oh yeah, they should pay. Like, it's just not going to happen. But I was just mind blown at how easily it is for people to disrespect. Because I think one of the reasons people doubt this Eagles team is because of their disrespect towards Jalen Hurts. They just can't believe what their eyes is telling them. That's why they refuse to say he was an MVP throughout the season, even though he should have won MVP. Just like when Lamar Jackson won his unanimous MVP. It took them forever to admit he was finally MVP, but then he started beating the great teams with the players who they was saying was MVP. So they could no longer say those dudes could win it over him. But in this game was just further proof. You know, I saw people trying to say that, oh, I picked the Giants because, you know, Jalen Hurts coming to this game hurt, and all these different type of stories as to why people are picking the Giants. And to me, I cannot remember too many times where I see a team get picked and it was so unearned. They beat the Vikings. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I just saw the Colts go up 33-7 against these dudes. The Vikings defense is atrocious. The offense is sleep for 3 quarters. We done made this point over and over and over and over and over and over again. But for some reason, when the Giants beat them, mind you, not many people were shocked when the Giants won that game. Somehow, you take that and then you go into this week thinking that now you doubting the Eagles. After all the Eagles did to see this, it's just wild to me. Because I just refuse to believe that if Joe Burrow was a quarterback of this team, that you would come into this game doubting that the Eagles could get it done. Makes no sense. And it's not even like the Eagles was going up against a Giants team that was as good as like a Bills team or as good as like a Miami team with Tua. Like it's not even a Baltimore defense. Like it wasn't none of that. The Eagles was going up against a team that they were so very clearly, in my eyes, better than. And that showed out in this game. 38-7 dub. Just a complete ass whooping. And I don't know why that was a shock to many people. I'm glad a lot of people lost their money. Because to me, this is just one of them asinine picks that people make. They just talk themselves into making dumb picks. Because there was absolutely no reason as to why you would pick the Giants to win this game over the Eagles. For one, the Giants defense has had great moments. They have not been a great defense. The Eagles are the best defense in football. You can make an argument between them and the 49ers. That's it. They've been that great. They sacked the quarterback more than any team in football. They had 15 more sacks than the second place team. They have a phenomenal secondary. They have a phenomenal run game. They have a phenomenal pass game. They have a phenomenal young quarterback who clearly is a difference maker when he is on the field. How? And then people say, oh, well, look at what he did last year. The Jalen Hurts from last year ain't the Jalen Hurts from this year. Clearly, this is a Jalen Hurts that has evolved, that has gotten better, that has better talent around him. Because while I tell you that this ain't the same, this also ain't the same Eagles team from last year. It's a better team. They can block better, run better, pass better, catch better, defend better. All of these things. So I was very confused as to why the Giants were picked to win this game by a lot of people. A lot of people picked the Giants to win this game, but it's funny that it always play out like this because, you see, for all the overhyping people was doing for Daniel Jones, instead of just giving him credit where it was due, people always got to take the credit to another level. They always got to blow it out of proportion. And look at what happened. An average day, a below average day, really did nothing impressive, could do nothing to this Philadelphia defense. Resorted back to if that first read ain't open, I'm going to run with it. And I give him some credit. He looked decent when he run and try to find somebody. He seemed to play at least a lot more decent in the backyard type football when he had to resort to that. But really did nothing at no point in time did this Philadelphia Eagles team at any point think to themselves, yeah, we in a tough one tonight. Because it was an ass whooping from start to finish. The Eagles defense dominated. The offense dominated. This was a game with clearly two teams on the opposite end of the spectrum. One team had a good year, and because other teams played bad, they were able to have, I'm not saying that's why they won, but that is one of the reasons they were able to get in through the wild card. The Eagles, on the other hand, were the best team in the NFC. And somehow, people picked them to lose this game. Absolutely insane to me. And, by the way, the Eagles were the only team that had a blowout win this weekend. I think they're the only team that blew any team out in the playoffs so far. Showing the rest definitely helped. Now, I don't know who's going to stop the Eagles because I told you, I got the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. I just like everything about this team. I love the game plan. And I told you last year, Nick Sirianni, it was just something about Sirianni that I knew he was a great coach, because every time I got on here and I talked about ways that the Eagles could utilize Jalen Hurts and get more out of him till he developed into a full-fledged what he want to be, I was like, Nick Sirianni can do this, they can do that. And week by week, I was noticing, bro, they literally doing everything I'm saying, bro. It almost felt like they was listening to the show. And boom, you had that amazing offseason. The offseason don't happen without last year. Last year had to happen and go the way that it went for Sirianni, the Eagles, and Jalen Hurts for them to become what they became this year. And credit to the Eagles for building on last year, because it's a lot of teams that would not have went out and did what the Eagles did this offseason after last year. They would have still had their doubts. They would have done. Credit to the Eagles. They were sold on Jalen Hurts. They knew what they had to do to put a team around him in order for him to get even more out of him. So when you look at the Eagles, bro, to me, I don't know who beats them, because they got a great pass game, a great run game. Not only do they have great pass game, great run game, sometimes when you have a great passing game or a great run game, it's because it's an extension of the system. They have a great system, but they also have great players in position to run the system. So you got a Miles Sanders, you got an AJ Brown, you have a Devontae Smith, you have a Dallas Goedert, you have possibly the best offensive line in football with Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson leading the way, and Dickerson also leading the way. This, to me, the Eagles offense is one of the best offenses. The only way you could probably, in my opinion, make this offense better. I'm not even going to talk about ways you can make it better. I'm appreciating what it is. To me, this is one of the best offenses I've seen. And when they are clicking, it just all looks so easy. Because like I say about the 49ers, it's hard to defend so many different weapons. Here's the difference. The 49ers offense, in my opinion, as good as they are, I keep telling you, they can be stopped. Why do I think they can be stopped? Because that's still Brock Purdy, and he's still going to make mistakes. And you done seen it in the first couple of games. Teams haven't capitalized on it or caught the mistakes, but you done seen it. The Eagles are a team, in my opinion, that are going to be the team that finally stop this, because they do have a great offense. They do have, and I understand some people be like, well, Jalen Hurts might not be able to figure out this defense for the 49ers. I think the Eagles are going to expose the 49ers in a way, because there is so many things you have to defend on the Eagles offense. You have to defend AJ Green. You have to defend. And see, a lot of these teams, as great as they are, that the 49ers done face, they haven't faced no AJ Green. I love CeeDee Lamb. That is a phenomenal player. He ain't AJ Green. That secondary, they got torched by DK Metcalf. Watch what AJ Green and Jalen Hurts is able to do to him. Watch what Devontae is able to do to him. Watch what Dallas Goedert is able to do to him. See, they used to not having to defend a tight end on the level of a George Kittle. And I'm not telling you that Dallas Goedert is better than George Kittle, but what I am telling you is that he is a better receiving tight end than George Kittle. See, a lot of people forget that the thing that makes George Kittle so great is the fact that he is a God-level blocker. But Dallas Goedert is the better receiving option, in my opinion. If you watch both of them, and this ain't just this year, Dallas Goedert done been great since they put him on the field beside Ertz. That's one of the reasons you had confidence in moving on from Ertz, because you have Dallas Goedert, who could become greater than Zach Ertz. But when you have that many weapons, and you have this backup running backs who play great roles, and you have Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts' ability, and Sirianni's offensive mind. Like, it's so many things, in my opinion, that the Eagles present that the 49ers have not had to face. And that is one of the reasons that and then you saw tonight with the 49ers. Dallas offense, as bad as they played, could have still won that game. It took a bad performance by Dak Prescott. I do not see Jalen Hurts playing this bad, for one. Two, I'm not telling you that Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and dominate. What I am telling you is Jalen Hurts is going to go out there and play a cleaner game than Dak Prescott. Why? Because he can play. He don't have to play, make the game tougher than it got to be like Dak did. On top of that, when you have the receivers and the tight end that Jalen Hurts has, and the great offensive philosophy behind you, he ain't going to have to go out there trying to force throws. He's not going out there making dumbass throws, because dudes is going to be running wide open. The same way I talk about the offense for the 49ers and the offense for the Cincinnati Bengals, having dudes running wide open, that's one of the advantages when you have that type of talent and a quarterback that can get it to that type of talent. More so than not, you make the defense have to defend every blade of grass. Too many times in the NFL, defenses can come into games not having to defend every blade of grass. They can come in with a game plan to defend this type of offense because they don't use this part of the offense, and the Philadelphia Eagles run the type of offense where you have to defend every blade of grass. It just is what it is. And that's why when you see them in a game like against the Giants just beat a team where the offense is stagnant in so many different areas. They don't make you defend every blade of grass. They become stagnant and beat themselves because of the lack of productivity. And on top of that, while the Giants was able to put pressure on Kirk Cousins, you can't expect to put that same type of pressure on teams like the Cowboys with that offensive line, or the Eagles with the offensive line that they have, or the 49ers with the offensive line they have. The Eagles being the best offensive line of the bunch, in my opinion, to me, is so many different. I mean, look at Lane Johnson last against the Giants, just dominating, throwing grown men, standing them straight up and moving them out the way. Like, to me, and I done seen this before with the Eagles. That's kind of also what I'm leaning on. Jalen Hurts' inexperience don't matter to me as much as the experience of the dudes that's on this team. The Brandon Cox, the London Fletchers, the Jason Kelce's, the Lane Johnsons. It's so many dudes on this team that's done experienced the mountaintop. They know what it's like, so they can draw from their experiences and give it to. They can't necessarily give it to Jalen Hurts and the other young dudes that ain't been there, like the Devontaes, the AJs, but they can. And AJ Brown done been on playoff runs, so, and he done been in in an AFC Championship game before. So, to me, all those things, and I understand a lot of the dudes on the 49ers done been to the mountaintop too, but to me, this is the first team that the 49ers will face. They don't have the better roster. They don't have a better defense, in my opinion. I also don't think they had a better offense. As great as Kyle Shanahan's offense is, Jalen Hurts is the better quarterback. So I'm always going to lean towards the better quarterback. Not only do I think they had a better quarterback, I like their weapons more. Because I believe if this have to become a shootout, which I don't think it will be, but I do believe one of these two teams will struggle more than the other scoring. And that's because ultimately, it's like I say about the Bengals. You can stop them for a quarter. You can stop them for 2 quarters. Hell, if you get really lucky, you can stop them for 3. But the Bengals going to score. It's just too much firepower on that team for them not to. I don't agree with that when it comes to the 49ers. You can stop the 49ers. Kyle Shanahan's offense, as great as it is, too many times we done seen in the past, because he don't have a franchise quarterback, his offense can be stopped. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense, when they are healthy, has not shown that it can be stopped. They put up points. They run the ball. They pass the ball. I trust the Philadelphia offense. I trust the Philadelphia team. And that's the beauty of when you watch Philadelphia. That's why I was so confused as to why they got picked, why people was picking the Giants, because the Eagles are great offensively. For all those great things I just talked about offensively, they got the players and the scheme on defense also. Hassan Reddick somehow done bounced around from team to team and done been great on every team he done been in. You got the Morgan Cox. You got the Fletcher Cox and the Brandon Cooks and the Darius Slay Jr.'s and the James Bradberry's and all the other stars on this team. Like, this Philadelphia team, to me, I just don't know, unless they just go lay an egg. I just think, and while while most people would take Kyle Shanahan over Nick Sirianni, I got a lot of faith in Nick Sirianni, man. I told you, if you listened to me last year, I've been on the Sirianni bandwagon for 2 years. Maybe I trusted him because of how I wanted Jalen Hurts to turn out, or maybe I just naturally had faith in him. But either way, I told you from the beginning of the season, I've been on this bandwagon with the Eagles for 2 years now. I'm not hopping off. I basically was on the whole bandwagon the entire season because I've not picked against the Eagles at all this season, I don't believe. I believe the Eagles, aside from the Ravens, this is the only team that I picked every single game to win their game. I picked them every week to win their game. That's how much. Now, I picked that for the Ravens because I'm a Raven fan. I picked that for the Eagles because of the confidence that I have in the Eagles, because the Eagles look like a great team. They played like a great team. In the beginning of the season, it was easy for people to say maybe it's just the talent. Maybe they're getting lucky. They're catching people off guard. The turnover ratio that they was winning is not going to last, yada, yada, yada. But look at how they evolved out of that. And plus, they still don't turn the ball over. So the beginning of the season wasn't a fallacy. The times they turned it over were, because they still did far better at not turning the ball over than turning it over. So I look at the Eagles team, and I'm going to be honest with you. To me, this would probably be my Super Bowl pick right now. But we'll get to that video when we get to it. But, you know, the next move for the Giants, because I know I've been talking a lot about the Eagles, but the Eagles one of my favorite teams to watch this year. And like I said, they got my guy over there, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, bro. I rock with them too. Because if you don't know, I was an Alabama fan for the longest until I just decided I'm not watching college football no more because the shit's a joke. Jalen Hurts, though. Him and Devontae. Y'all already know I rock with all the black quarterbacks. But Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson, bro. My guys, bro. I've been rocking with Jalen Hurts since he had locks. So, Jalen, I want my boy to win this Super Bowl so bad. I want him to win this Super Bowl so bad. But this is the thing. We done seen teams going to the Super Bowl before. That's like, you know, I'm going to say that for a different video because I don't want to jinx it. Let me go to the Giants real fast. So if you're a Giants like fan, I think you should be happy because you got the coach that's going to probably be your head coach for the next decade plus. And that's a great feeling. I remember when we first, as a Raven fan, got John Harbaugh. I was like, this is going to be the coach for this team for the next decade plus. Like, when you finally get a head coach, that solves a lot of problems because that gives you a stability there. You need that. So you don't want to have a new leader every 2 years. That's tough. That's when players become basically the leaders and the coaches more so than having a new coach every year. So I think that the Giants have their head coach for the next couple years. I really think that the Giants have a lot of areas to fix on the team. Receiving positions can get better. You got to make a decision with Saquon Barkley. You have to get that offensive line up to par. And I also think you need a new quarterback because I don't think Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback, even with the good little game. I mean, the man threw 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, bro. If that's if that's his high, like, come on, that's insane. So I do think they need to find another quarterback. But if a new quarterback is not imminent, I would see, like, what's the price of keeping Daniel Jones? Because I'm not willing to commit a big contract to Daniel Jones. I'm basically not willing to give him a contract that's not similar to the backup contract. Because I know I'm not winning the Super Bowl with Daniel Jones. He has a very, very low ceiling. He has limitations. That just is what it is. And so if I'm the Giants, when I got so many, and the defense, dude, you could get better on the defense, the secondary, safety positions, the corner positions. You know, you could shore up the linebacking position. To me, the Giants overachieved. I don't really think this is a team that's decked out in a lot of different positions. I think this was a great coach team. They did a lot of overachieving. But I do think this is a team that next year could fall off of a cliff. The teams that they got wins over this year, some of them teams they could have easily lost to. Some of those teams they will lose to next year more than likely if they don't make big improvements to the roster. This is one of those teams, one of the few teams that made it to the playoffs that I actually think probably shouldn't have made it to the playoffs, but because this was one of them weird years, which you can technically say every year, it is what it is. But I don't think that going into next year, you could take this same Giants roster and make the playoffs with it next year. I think too many teams will be better. I think too many rosters will look better. And so, plus, I don't think 3 teams making it out of the NFC East again. That's just crazy. While I do think Dallas and the Eagles are going to make it out of the NFC East again next year, unless some massive changes happen to Dallas, I don't see the Giants making it out of that because I don't see all the teams that played as bad as they did this year playing this bad again next year. The Rams will be better next year. Seattle will be a good team again next year, but I imagine the Cardinals will be a better team next year. The Panthers will be a better team next year. The Falcons could be a better team next year, but don't hold your breath on that one. Tampa could be an interesting team next year, but it's a lot of teams. The only team that I know probably won't be better next year is the Chicago Bears if they keep Justin Fields. That's the only one I'm sure of. But if the Packers could be a better, I think the Packers going to be a playoff team next year. If they get rid of Aaron Rodgers, I still think they'll be a playoff team next year because that's how much faith I have in Mike or what's my man's name? Matt LaFleur. But if you the Giants, I just think it's a lot of different moves you got to make on this roster. Now, you can make big moves that could keep you in that playoff hunt. I just don't know how long you stay in the playoff hunt with Daniel Jones because Daniel Jones ultimately still have to make a lot. He get the ball more than anybody else. And so ultimately it will still depend on Daniel Jones having another decent season. Do you think this type of season with other teams getting better, this type of season could get you to the playoffs again? So I think it's a lot of different moves that have to be made for the New York Giants. I know that sound bad if you're a Giants fan listening to you. You're like, yo, he done talk highly of all these other teams and this is what he got for the Giants. Yeah, I'm sad about that. But listen, I'm just calling how I don't think the Giants have a great roster. I like some of the players on the team. I just don't like the overall roster, to be completely honest with you. To me, this was a team that just overachieved and was the beneficiaries of a lot of other unexpected bad play from teams in the NFC this year. But with that being said, I do appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. Shout out to them Eagles fly, Eagles fly. Shout out to that boy, Jalen Hurts. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. In this world, you could be anything. Choose to be kind to somebody today. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking or something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.